What's going on, you guys? Back again. Still in lockdown, I'm bored as hell. We're probably at that 1 month mark now where a lot of you guys are gonna start needing haircuts, and although it would be nice for me to tell you to wait, I have no fucking clue how long this is gonna last for. So I wanted to start making a couple tutorials that are gonna cover some basic haircuts with very minimal tools. The first one I wanna do, because I only have 2 mannequins, I'm gonna do a nice longer slick back style with a little bit of hair on the side still. A lot of you guys are rocking these longer styles already, so this will be really easy. First things first, tools. Let's start with the clipper. Basic clipper. We got the lever here, it's the taper lever. This is very important, we need this. This is gonna help us blend all the different lengths in. And then yeah, just a basic clipper. Now, when you look at the clipper, things you wanna check for. You gotta have the lever. And secondly, make sure the top blade does not go past the bottom blade. So there should be a little bit of a gap between the top and the bottom blade. If the top blade goes over the bottom blade, you're gonna cut yourself, or whoever you're cutting is gonna get cut. So you wanna make sure there's a little bit of a gap, usually about a nail's width, separated apart. It could be a little bit bigger, doesn't matter. But never want this to be overlapping the bottom blade. And you wanna make sure that that gap is consistent throughout the whole length of the blade. Now, if you need to make an adjustment, it's just usually 2 screws in the bottom. Lightly loosen them a bit. And what I do is I push the lever in with my one hand, and I kind of just pull this one down, or you push this blade up, and then tighten it as you need. And then test it out, push it all the way, start it up, fire it up, and then make sure that it's not moving past that bottom blade. Now, the clipper, there's a couple ways to hold them. You'll see me, I'll show you after how to hold it, but for the most part, you're gonna hold it like this. The thumb on the top, the rest of your fingers on the bottom. I usually keep my index finger pretty close to the blade, and these 3 are usually just kind of on the bottom here below. And it doesn't need to be a crazy grip, pretty light so you can move this thing around. The basic premise of when you're doing a haircut is you want to always just dig in with the teeth first, and you want to just ride it up to the roof, 90-degree angle to the roof. You don't want to dig into the head, you don't want to pull out too much, just straight up to the roof. But you want to get the teeth in there first, like this. You kind of scoop it in, and then straight to the roof. If you follow the head shape, the head is round. If you follow the head, you're gonna leave them with that really round looking Macklemore style haircut. And if you come out too much, you're gonna get this really blown out Pauly D looking haircut. So always dig in with the teeth first, let the teeth do its thing, and then you wanna just rise to the roof. And I'll show you when we actually start cutting how you should position your client in this scenario, how you should position your client's head to help you with that straight to the roof motion. Next, guards. Now, I don't know what kind of brand clippers you guys are using, what kind of tools you're using, so guards gonna be pretty generic. Number system, for me, I got a 1, a 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5. On a normal basis, I'd use a lot more stuff, but since this is gonna be very beginner, very easy, minimal tool tutorial, I'm just gonna go with the absolute basics. We're not even gonna use this. So, number 1, every company is different. They use a number system, but their lengths are different. So wall, for the most part, number 1 is gonna be an 1/8 of an inch. Your 2 is gonna be a 1/4 inch. 3 will be 3/8 of an inch. 4 is, I believe, 1/2 inch. And then 5/8 of an inch will be your number 5. And generally that is gonna cover everything. Yeah, as long as you have kind of 1 to 5 or 6, you should be covered to do most of these kind of haircuts. And then for this cut, number 1 we're using, the shortest length will be 1/8 of an inch on the sides. Then we have combs, 2 types of combs. I'm just gonna use this one today. It's a little bit of a bigger comb. If all you have is a smaller comb, that is okay too. And that's pretty much it. And the last things we need, blow dryer. And then if you have any clips, those are awesome. You can kind of clip some of the hair out of the way if it's a little bit too long. I don't want to clip all the hair out of the way because we want it to fall naturally, and that'll give us a very natural way to style and cut the hair. Remember, this is beginner, very basic tools, not what I would do on a daily basis. All right, so that's all the tools we're gonna need. But hold up, before we get any further, I want to show you guys a couple examples of what we're doing. Here's the finished result. So if your hair doesn't look anything like that right now, maybe one of my other tutorials will better suit your needs. Let's go.
Alright guys, this is what we're going to work with. I got a mannequin head. Not ideal for most haircuts, but we'll kind of get a basic idea of what we're going to do today. Top is pretty long to begin with, Sides are decent, probably close to what you guys are looking like right now. What I'm gonna do is a slick back look. So the top is gonna blend into the sides. There'll be a little bit of an overhang, not much, but it should be fairly easy for you to pull your hair back and style it with a little bit of product. If your hair isn't going back already to begin with, this probably isn't the style for you, but nonetheless, watch the video, you might learn something. Whether it's clippering the sides or just how to cut the top without scissors. So that's my first guard. That's the number 5 guard. Put the guard on the head first just to make sure how much you're taking through. It's pretty long still. We're not going to be taking a whole lot of hair off, but we don't want to take too much off at once because I want to work our way down so we can create kind of a nice little a layer. So start on the lower end of the head, work your way up, and then as you cut, make sure you're cutting to the roof and you're not following the shape of the head. You're just letting the clipper do its thing and you're going straight to the roof. Always go in with the teeth first in the bottom and then go straight up to the roof. If you need to tilt the client's head, make sure you tilt it a little bit away from you at all times so that you're not digging into their head and you're just naturally building a little bit of a taper with the shape. So yeah, we'll work our way around. Cut the sides, go around the ears, and then yeah, make sure you're going straight to the roof. Tilt their head a little bit away from you. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit so you're not digging right into their head. We want to keep that shape. Now we're going to use the number 4 guard. It's a little bit shorter, and we want to come just below where we were with the number 5. Same motions, going straight to the roof still, and then digging in with the teeth on the bottom. And don't start where you need to. Start at the very bottom just to give yourself that momentum and the motion. And then work your way around the ears. You have to fold the ear down if you have to. Go ahead. And then if you notice any growth patterns, cut accordingly against the growth pattern. So now we have number 3 guard. Same motions. You're just working a little bit below where we last finished. And you want to maintain that shape that you already built up top. And yeah, like I said, if there's any weird growth patterns, especially in the back or around the ears, just you always want to cut against the grain. So whatever direction the hair is falling, cut against that direction. And apply even tension and pressure. You don't have to push down crazy hard. The clipper will do most of the work, but make sure that you're applying the same pressure along the head the whole time. So now we got the number 2 guard. Okay, so yeah, we haven't used the leather yet for the clipper, and now we might have to start. So on the mannequin, they don't have too much hair, so I'm just having it closed still, and we're following the same motions, coming a little bit below where we were last, and just still maintaining that shape up top, and we're just slowly taking a little bit of hair off, working our way downwards. If you find it's leaving too much of a gap, don't be afraid to pull that lever down a little bit. And so now I got the number 1 on. If you have a 1.5 at home, use that in this step. And then follow the same motions that we've been doing. But if you don't, then use number 1. And we're going to open that lever all the way to give us a little bit more length now. So you'll notice when you pull the lever down that the blade pushes itself apart from each other. That's going to give you a little bit more length to work with. It's going to start helping us blend when we get into the shorter lengths. So same idea. With this one, you might notice a little bit more hair coming off. So make sure you're applying a little bit less pressure, and you don't be afraid to use the corner of the clipper rather than the full blade. Because the corner you can kind of just etch into a little bit. You don't have to cut every piece of hair. Just etch into it a little bit so you can start blending. And here's where you want to maybe take a step or 2 back, just to look at it, and then go continue on with your cutting. So we had it all the way open. Now we're going to close it to the halfway point, and we're going to work just a little bit below that. So this is the second last step. And yeah, just still maintain the shape up top. We're just going to come a little bit below where we last were, and we're going to continue to blend. And like I said, you can use the corner of the clipper, but make sure you come in flat first and then switch to the corner. And then as you're cutting, you actually want to start removing the teeth away from the head, kind of almost towards you, so you maintain the shape that's already there and you're not cutting into it. So last step, we're going to close the lever all the way, and this will be the shortest length on the head. And yeah, use the corner of it. And here you want to start listening to your clipper, because if it's not cutting, you're just going to hear that buzzing, and then when it does cut, you're going to hear that little crunch sound. So you obviously want it to cut hair, but you don't want to cut too much. So go in flat first and then start using the corner, but just be careful not to take off too much hair, because this is the last step. We don't want to push that fade any higher than it already is. We want to keep everything relatively low. And the stuff that we done up top, we don't want to mess with that. So basically we worked our way from the longest guard to the shortest guard, and now I want to go in reverse just to take care of any hair that we might have missed. And what this will do is, we have the short hair now, we have the long hair up top, and this is just going to help kind of blend everything in a little bit easier. And this part doesn't have to take long, just quickly go through it with the longest guard or a medium guard. Same idea, going straight to the roof, not following the head shape. We don't want to round it in. And if you find that the shape is too like blowout looking, too poly D looking, then here's where you can kind of fix that a little bit. So now we'll get to the top. Wet the hair first. On the mannequins, the hair goes back pretty easily. On live humans, it might not necessarily do that. So now, since we're not using scissors, I'm going to teach you guys how to hold it. You want to hold the clipper with your fist, and watch what I do here with the comb, and just pay attention to how I hold the clipper. And then we'll stick the comb in. You can have the teeth up or you can have the teeth down, depending what direction you're combing. You'll see me do that in a second here. Now mine's cordless, but if yours is corded, that's still fine too. And I have it on now at this point, so be careful not to dig that clipper into anywhere you don't want it to be, or you might take some hair or some skin off. So I'm standing beside my client. I'm going to comb all the hair back. And what we're going to do now is separate the hair into a couple sections. So 3 sections. We're going to start with the middle. That's going to be our first guideline. That's going to establish how long we're going to cut everything, and that's going to be our main initial guideline. So comb through it first, see what the hair looks like to begin with, because we haven't cut the top yet, and we want to just follow what the last haircut looks like. So imagine cutting the top kind of like a square, and then towards the back, the head is naturally a little bit higher. We'll just let it do its thing. And you see here, I'm rounding it in a little bit, and then whatever is left there, I'm just letting it fall off the head, and we'll clean that up once we blend everything in. And just snip. And so normally I would use scissors, but if not everybody has scissors at home, or not the right type of scissors, this is a quick and easy way to do it. And this is with the lever closed. And I'm just showing you from the angle here. So you'd want the head to be straight, neutral stance, not leaning forward, not leaning back or anything like that. So middle section we have now, and what we're going to do is separate the top in half. So then we're going to have 2 sections now, and those 2 sections will have parts from that middle, so that we have 2 guidelines basically. And so the sections you're going to take from here on are going to be about a thumb's width. And so you'd comb it, and then use your 2 fingers to pinch it, and then cut. And so you want to pull the hair out to the roof. Now, I would normally take a little bit more hair off on the edges, but because I wanted to keep this mannequin for another haircut, I'm rounding it a little bit there. But yes, take your thumb width section sizes on the way as you work your way back, and pulling the hair to the roof as well. Now, because the hair is a little bit longer, it's a little bit more forgiving, so don't be afraid if you aren't taking too much hair off. And in the back here, still going straight to the roof, you actually have two guides. So you have the top portion that we already cut with the clippers, and the bottom portion that you did when you were doing the fade section of the haircut. And so push everything back again. The hair should be medium dry now. We got the clipper on. We're using the clipper now with the guard, and hold it a little bit differently. We're gonna blend it in with the guard on. So this is a quick and easy way to blend hair in, assuming that the hair is falling back naturally. And if your hair isn't going back with ease at all right now, this probably wouldn't be the right haircut for you. In the back, we're going downwards motion. Just be careful not to take off too much hair because we have that nice shape already established. If you dig in too deep or you use too low of a guard, you're gonna take a lot of hair off. So always start with a longer guard and very, very light pressure. And if you have to, you can always put a shorter guard on, or you can apply a little bit more pressure. But you're basically just sculpting at this point. And it's almost like you're just skimming across the head because you don't want to dig in too much. If you dig in too much, we're going to ruin that shape. So notice that shape in the back there, how it kind of blends in like that. And it's just from working it downwards like that. Okay. So my camera kind of cuts off towards the end of this clip, but basically if you don't have a trimmer, you can use your clipper. Make sure you're not cutting yourself. Test on your palm first, and just follow the hairline that's already there. I usually like to push the head down, establish the back hairline, and then I'll lift the client's head up a little bit so that it's natural, and then we'll do that again. You don't want to end up with that reverse smiley face, or you don't want to end up with too much of a smiley face. Like I was saying, clip cut off there. But yeah, just follow the natural hairline. And once that's done, we're gonna dry the hair up, style it. And I like doing this because obviously you're gonna style your hair every day. If you pre-style it, you can kind of see how the hair is gonna look, and then we can actually go back in and clean it up. So if everything is done correctly, the shape should mostly be there already. The length should pretty much be there. We're just fine-tuning little things. A lot of times with the cheaper clippers, they'll miss a lot of hairs, so you get up with these little half-inch hairs on the side. This is a perfect time to clean that up. And if you want, you can put a guard on again. I had the 2 on with the comb there. You can use a longer guard if you're afraid, and just work your way down again. Because like I said, you can always cut more hair off, but you can't put it back on. So you don't need the guard on the clipper there. If you're confident enough without the guard, go ahead. And if you don't even want the comb there, you can just freehand it as well. But here you're really just freehanding it, very, very, very light touch. I wish that clip of the trimming, the outline didn't cut out, but yeah, just take your time with that portion too. Keep it natural. You can see there a little bit of bulk was sticking out still, so we're going, I believe that's my number 2 or my number 3. And just now at this point, I'm following the direction the hair is laying, versus when we were cutting before we were going against. I'm actually following it now. And yeah, there you go. That's the end result. Nothing too crazy. Very basic, no scissor, slick back hairstyle, using only clippers. There you go, guys.
Now you know what I do for a living. I'm not perfect. You should have waited. It was worth it.